All right, let's catch up on the Trump cases so far. Today is May 1st. It began with the criminal contempt hearing part 3. This began with them addressing 4 additional instances where Donald Trump allegedly broke the gag order. His lawyer argued that one of the particular things that were brought up by the judge and brought up by the prosecution as breaking the gag order rules was a True Social post about Michael Cohen. And they said that that was in response to one of Michael Cohen's tweets saying Donald vonshitzenpants. And because it was part of an actual argument in court, it is now part of the public record and the court documents. So hashtag vonshitzenpants is now an official thing, so it's trending. So that's how today started for Donald J. Trump. Let's wrap it up and bring it back. All right, we've got last week, David Pecker was on the stand almost all week. If you remember correctly, he met with Cohen and Trump in 2015 and discussed a catch and kill scheme with negative stories. He admitted on the stand a few major points that basically make the case for the criminal element, which is the election interference purposes. David Pecker discussed how this all went down. He put evidence up, corroborating evidence of email, everything else, about this meeting with Cohen and with Trump, talking about the doorman and the story about a young lady in Trump Tower. And the doorman was paid $30,000 to be quiet about a story of a woman who was allegedly impregnated by Donald J. Trump. And was going to go to the paper. Now, the paper essentially took this story, paid the doorman $30,000, made him sign a non-disclosure agreement and also an exclusivity agreement, which apparently had some time guidelines on it, which is actually pretty important for some of the stuff that came out this week with evidence. And that story disappeared. Next came Karen McDougal, the playmate that was in a long-term relationship, long-term meaning 8-9 months with Donald Trump. I don't know how, I don't know why. She seems like a lovely woman. Maybe Bill Cosby helped, who the hell knows. But anyway, that relationship, that story was brought to the attention of the National Enquirer, and she was given $150,000 and forced to sign these papers saying that she wouldn't tell anybody else and basically be quiet. Then along comes Stormy Daniels. David Pecker admitted that running these stories in the newspaper, in the National Enquirer, would have made the paper tens of millions of dollars because of how juicy the story was and because Donald Trump was then running for president. And he didn't run them. He was supposed to be paid back by Donald Trump for these payouts. Which he wasn't paid back, anyway. And then comes Stormy Daniels. Now, Stormy Daniels was something that happened 10 years earlier. This is something that's been sitting for a while. Trump's claim was that she was paid so it wouldn't embarrass his wife or his family or anything like that, which is obviously not true because it's been 10 years and it didn't matter until he was running for president. Then it mattered. Then it was $140,000. That was discussed by Keith. Yes, Keith. You know Keith. Yeah, Keith. The Keith Davidson, the gentleman who not only represented Stormy but also represented Karen McDougal. He was the lawyer that handled all the financial things. The other person that came up and testified was the person at the bank that actually did all the transfers, helped Michael Cohen set up the fund through the mortgage of his home to pay Stormy Daniels the $130,000, $140,000. This was the guy on the bank side. Keith Davidson also testified and corroborated not only the story of David Pecker, but also gave emails, texts to a gentleman by the name of Dylan Howard, who worked for David Pecker and was kind of the go-to guy with information and all that stuff. So all of these people worked in cahoots to try and catch and kill these stories, all of which provided evidence against Donald J. Trump and very specifically mapped out the scheme and why they did it. David Pecker opened this big shit show with a slam dunk testimony, hitting all the key points the prosecution wanted to hit, and the defense really didn't have much of a response. So it was shown that the choice was made, and he said on the stand, David Pecker said, this was not done to protect Trump's family. There was never a discussion in any way, shape, or form from the beginning to the end having it to do with Trump's family. It was 100% in support of his campaign. That was spelled out, and the documents supporting it. So when Keith Davidson took the stand as the representative of these two young ladies, with the payouts and all the intricate stuff, along came the voice recordings of Michael Cohen. Along came the texts of Keith Davidson to Dylan Howard to David Pecker. Along came all of the additional evidence talking about how everybody involved with this knew the purpose of this scheme was to help the Trump campaign. So much so to the point that when it was announced that Donald J. Trump was the winner of the election, Dylan Howard sent an email to David Pecker that was put in evidence that said, "Oh my God, what have we done?" knowing the gravity of their actions. Now, this week started off with, we had Rona Daniels, who was Trump's personal assistant for 10, 20 years. She took the stand. She testified that McDougal and Daniels were in Trump's personal stuff. She testified that there was a mention of The Apprentice. It was all personal. It was all about this scheme. She testified against her boss, her ex-boss that she was loyal to for a very long time. That must have hurt. And then we have all the way up till today, beginning with yet another criminal contempt hearing. This criminal contempt hearing brought up Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, the voice that he heard played over and over in audio recordings, and then he heard a forensic expert on the stand say that they're legitimate. That is Michael Cohen and that is Donald Trump, and this is what they are discussing. Donald J. Trump was closing his eyes, hearing those voices in his head over and over and over, and then his lawyers had to defend his Truth Social post attacking Michael Cohen in defense of Donald vonshitzenpants. So that is how he started his day today. It must have been fantastic to be there. I think his sleeping is a self-defense mechanism and the only way he could shut off his ears. So when he farts and wakes himself up, I bet he's mad for two reasons. One, he has to change his diaper. The other is he has to hear this stuff again. So where we are is finding out the specifics in the paperwork. That Trump's code name in all of this was David Dennison, rather than saying Donald J. Trump did this, Donald J. Trump did that, and Donald J. Trump is going to sign these papers. It was this fictitious character, David Dennison. Donald Trump still has to look forward to Karen McDougal's testimony, has to look forward to Hope Hicks' testimony, which became even more important after Karen McDougal's did her 2018 CNN interview and reignited the conversation of extending and paying more money. So it kept going for the 2020 election. This does not stop. Hope Hicks, Stormy Daniels, Michael Cohen, and more than 10 other witnesses are taking the stand. This is going to be fun to watch. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Stay diligent, stay educated, be kind, and grab your damn popcorn. This is going to be fun. Donnie vonshitzenpants.